Gonna free solo this.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Oh, this is Mom's loft. Dawn with the cross. Places to visit. Looks like a few different places in India to do, buy school books. Luke, some Bible verses. Majors, English teaching, geology. Oh.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
They're really cute. They're helping hands create safe places. So I wonder, due to her interest in travel, if she was the one giving postcards to Walter in the basement. Oh! Oh, we can see her belly! I just realized that. We could have probably seen that earlier on. This makes sense now when she was in the crawl space and she said it was made for smaller bellies. I didn't understand that at the time. I thought she was just saying we were voluptuous. Alright, let's see what happened to Mom.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
Guess we won't get to find out more of Mom's story just yet.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back.
So it looks like Lewis has herbs growing.
And to see kids in
Milton.
the house again.
Let's see, Milton looks like he's painting maybe a picture of some castles. Creative artsy one. And here's mine. I'm not sure what kind of plants that looks like I was growing. Oh, little figurines. Mama.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
Looks like maybe we were homeschooled then. What kind of books are here? The Big Balloon. Learning activities for kids, extra lives, cheat code kings.
But it didn't last.
Dungeon Master. They play D&D. Old and Finch. Myth. History. The Curse. These remind me of those science fair project boards we all had to do in school. Multiplication tables. Fact or fiction. Doesn't look like anything's written on those. Lewis rules. I definitely used to get in trouble sometimes for scribbling little doodles on the desks. Edith. I like that she made him call her Mrs. Finch, even though they were her kids. Hundreds of relief volunteers are injured or dead after the effects of a second earthquake. Is that how Dad died then?
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Wow. Alright, take it back. I do love the astronomy room, but check this out. I think I would choose this one as my room if I could choose any. In the peephole.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Oh, I really want to go inside this one. How do we get in? Oh, through the window. This is so cool. Looks like he might have had some interest in architecture, making some blueprints. It's a fun little, almost like a dirigible, but not quite. I was painting a door. Maybe imagining some place to escape to. Oh! Milton. Cute little self-portrait. I mean, imagine having this space to create art up here, and then you have this beautiful view to inspire you. Oh, I want a place like this one day. The magic paintbrush.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Oh, it's a little flip book. That's really cool. I don't think I've ever seen something like this in a game before. It's painting the doorway. Then he was gone. Really curious what happened to him.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
I know there's still game to go, but I'm going to preemptively say I think this might be a masterpiece. It's incredibly
Whatever
sad.
Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
But the sense of mystery and trying to piece together everything, along with the visuals, this is just an incredible experience. Reading as a hoot. I didn't see that when I was in there the first time. It's cute.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Lewis.
Everyone always told me
Ooh.
to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Trippy. He's got a cannabis leaf back there. I feel like his montage is going to be really surreal and psychedelic, like very Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole. Interesting. But also, this is a bit precarious, being all the way up here. I just keep feeling like something bad's going to happen to us. But maybe that's the game sort of making us feel like we're cursed. Maybe we'll get out fine and everything will be okay.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
I really like the lighting in this room. Masters of Game Decision. Oh, Masters of Game Design. So maybe he liked video games. Looks like there's a disc. Oh, he did like video games because he has the WASD highlighted. The Red King's Dream. Through the Looking Glass. Yeah, it's going to be some very Alice in Wonderland stuff, I think. Let's find out what happened to Lewis.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly
Blood on her
sober,
hands.
I believe Lewis first
Or at the
noticed
fishery.
monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Oh, it's like a little character we can move about. We have to do this both at the same time? I don't know if I can multitask for
I
this.
asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
I
Like a
don't
whole
think
new Lewis.
this is a good place to be daydreaming around heavy machinery and dangerous machinery.
So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Oh, Popper.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever.
I feel like people at the cannery should have realized something was wrong.
Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
And I feel like
Conquer a city, then immediately push on.
we kind of got the sense that he didn't really want the job. It was just something his mom kind of got for him.
New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery.
And the text on the side looks
Even as his mother pleaded with him.
like maybe some kind of Indian language text.
In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a
Beautiful prince.
beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for
Rainbows.
radiant rainbows.
The multitasking's a little difficult for me.
He followed the sound of his
Silver harp.
silver harp.
This is such beautiful game design, though. Even though we're headed towards our demise.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it.
Wait, can we see ourselves? Oh, there we are. We have kind of cool armor, our little gauntlets.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
I like how all of the stories have a different art style to them as well.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Oh,
My
something bad's about to
imagination was as real
happen.
as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Was through the door?
He began to forget the world we know.
Here's our locker.
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
It's like we're having maybe a bit of a break from reality.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
Oh, that's so sad. Just carrying on the motion.
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
So somehow maybe we got on the conveyor belt and got chopped up then. Again, tonal dissonance, like we're going towards our death.
Wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting.
And it's this beautiful celebration. Makes it hit really hard. Just a punch to the gut. Also, for surreal moments with bands, this kind of reminds me of the movie Paprika. It's an anime. I definitely recommend if you like surrealism.
His prince waited, holding his crown.
Oh, you see the fish design.
To do.
What's left to do? Take the crown? Oh no!
Bend down his head.
This is so grim.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
It does seem like his family was trying to help, having him speak to a psychiatrist, but maybe just having so much trauma around him growing up ended up causing the break from reality. It's really sad. I think his story so far has been one of the more rich and interesting ones. I wonder if there's any more clues that we missed. Theodore's quality. Cigars. Here's the video games.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
We have that in common, Lewis. I also die a lot in games. High school diploma.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
I'm very curious about Edie's story since we haven't heard much about her just yet.
Stayed. But I understand why we left.
Oh, it's those engravings where you take a crayon and make an impression of a tree leaf. I used to do that as a kid.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Oh yeah, it looks like there she is going to Paris. Little world traveler. To teach and to learn. 7 ways to create a fulfilling classroom. She even wrote a book on how to homeschool, it looks like. And there's Dad's vest. Aww.
What
I
happened
wonder if
that
we'll
night
find out more
for
about
a
his
long
story.
time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
So far we don't know a whole lot about Dad's story. We know that he probably died during one of those earthquakes, and we don't know exactly what happened to Milton, and we haven't learned about Mom just yet. Or Edie for that matter. So we still have a bit of mystery to uncover, I think.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
I like the origami birds. It's a cute design up here. This little loft. Norwegian folk tales. The other thing about this is it kind of reminds me of a lot of Danish movies that I've watched where everything is so bleak and so grim and nothing goes right. In particular, I'm thinking of one with Mads Mikkelsen called The Hunt, where it's probably his best performance as an actor, and I'm glad that I watched it, but I will never watch it again. It's just so bleak and horrible to watch that you just never want to watch it again, and that's kind of how this feels. So it has me thinking and wondering if maybe Scandinavian stories are just really grim. So if you have any information about that, definitely leave a comment below, because I'm curious if there's any sort of connection there where maybe tales from this area do tend to have a really grim, fatalistic tone to them.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it?
What did she
The
leave us?
grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Edie's staying. Edie reminds me of a captain of a ship. Like when the ship sinks, the captain goes down with the ship. That's how I feel about Edie in this house.
the
Let's see
power
what
had
she
been shut
left
off
us.
that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or
More
that Edie
secrets.
had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
I mean, I understand why Mom does want to blame Edie for talking about and believing in the curse, but still, a lot of these can't be just blamed on the curse. I think it's people failing to take responsibility for their actions and decisions in a lot of the cases.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Well, we're going to the old
It
house.
was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
I feel like if you don't know where you're going, you should just stay put. Wait for the fog to roll back out. You're gonna get disoriented.
I got turned around.
Yeah. Maybe go around the perimeter of this big rock.
For a while, I wandered.
Should stay put. Wait for help.
I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But
The old-
when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Like pieces from the old house, maybe. Edie tells interesting stories. I want to know where this goes. She's got me on the edge of my seat.
That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
This is such a great shot. This game has amazing art design.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Hey,
Mom,
I want to
you're
know the
gonna
rest of the
rip it,
story,
let
Mom.
go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car.
Oh, I hope we find that. I want to know how the story ends.
I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Oh.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
Oh, that's really cool.
My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
Oh. Maybe she had like cancer or something then.
She got better for a while. And then she didn't.
This
And then
is
I was
really
alone.
sad.
The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you.
But who's Papa?
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now,
Oh no.
things didn't work out that way.
Oh, did we not make it?
This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Oh my gosh. So did we potentially die during childbirth then? Wow. All right. I'm gonna collect my thoughts and then I'll leave an outro. Alright, so I do think this was a masterpiece of a game. I mean, everything about it was so beautifully done. The story was heartbreaking. And I think when I look back on everything, even though we didn't find out the mystery of everything and some of the stories were a bit vague, I do like that the developers decided not to answer all of the questions that we might have had throughout. It leaves something to the imagination and it makes us kind of wonder and speculate about the story a bit on our own, which I do appreciate. And I just want to thank you for coming along on this rather emotional journey. I mentioned a little bit during it that I had chosen this game because I'm trying to diversify the content on my channel and I thought this would be a cute, wholesome game. And even though it turned out to be something completely different from what I expected, I'm so very glad that I played this game, and I want to check out now to see if the developers created anything else because I would love to play more games by them. And if you enjoyed this video series, make sure to leave a like or a comment below with what you thought of the game, and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content. And until next time, I hope to see you all very soon, and I'm wishing you a lovely day.